11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What a fight! I think Guerrero won it.
Juan, the Hispanic causing panic, Lascano.
What's going on, everybody? Everybody tuning in. If you haven't already listened on the archive, hit that like button. Make sure you share this video on all your social media platform. That is much appreciated. Thanks to everybody already here, from Remy, Writing Yogi, Puerto Rican Ram, Dimitrico, Daniel Anglu, the Boxing Kangaroos, Don Matador. As far as changing the time, hey, shout out to everybody out there. I've been working all week to set this up. This is the time I got. I don't got any more time after this, so I'm doing the show right now. So it is what it is. Those that can't listen live for me, you could always come back and listen on the archive. I appreciate everybody live, by the way. Bruce Goss in the building, and Remy and Bruce Goss, by the way. Thank you for being members. Much appreciated, brothers. You guys can be members as low as just 99 cents a month. It helps go a long way, support the channel, and also supporting some of the young up-and-coming, amateurs that we help out. I also help sponsor Christina Cruz, for example. So you're always welcome to support. Denise Ward's in the building. How's it going? Hit the like button. That's the biggest way you could help, just by supporting the channel, hitting the like. Shout out to everyone. Shout out to Sam Greer as well. Dos Matador. Man, we got a show for you tonight. It's not going to be... Look, I didn't have time to do a lot of the setup, so it's going to be shooting the shit. It is what it is. I got some of the stuff set up. I'm sure some of you have seen the 4 to 2 months, brother. I definitely appreciate. Shout out to Bruce Goss. I want to make sure everyone understands out there that the nominees are out. This is not a debate. Everyone has their own opinion. These are my awards. Okay, I've been doing this for over 12 years. These are my awards. You're more than welcome to state your opinion. I'm just not here to argue with people. Whatever I say is final. Right? I just want to put that out there. Okay, for what it's worth. All right. But let's get this one started. Caesar Torres, how's it going? And they says, thank you, D-Style. I'm so stressed on bills, but listening to you and Calix makes me forget about that. Thank you. Hey, man, definitely thank you for tuning in. And blessings in 2024. I think you're going to have a great year, brother. Have that feeling. Keep striving, keep working. Everyone's been there before, man. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Just some awards here I want to put out first before anything. Some of the smaller awards here, okay? First of all, Trainer of the Year, I'm going to have to go ahead and give that to Bomac. He did train, of course, Crawford, as we know, and also the big win of Eubank in his rematch against Liam Smith. Those are two big W's, as well as other fighters that they work with as well. Bomac gets the Trainer of the Year award in my book. And hashtag free Bomac was a big thing earlier in the year. We got him out of prison or jail, whatever it was, and back home. So Bomac got free. Shout out to Bomac. And I just wanted to go ahead and put that out there. Also, moment of the year, the year that there's one moment that I think stands above all of them. There's a lot of great moments in every year, really, in boxing, even this year. But there's one moment that it's going to be very hard to beat, very hard to get above. And that moment was when Francis Ngannou dropped Tyson Fury. I remember I was surprised. I was very surprised when that happened. I think a lot of people were surprised, even people picking Ngannou to win, or maybe just more hopeful than anything. But the moment it happened, it was a holy shit moment, and one that's going to be hard to forget, for better or for worse. You know, and also shout out to Bruce Goss. I believe he's 69 years old today. So shout out to him. And Remy reminded me here, is it 68 or 69? I thought it was 69. But nonetheless, absolutely thank you for the support, brother. And shout out to Bruce Goss. All right. Happy birthday to him. Look, to me, it was obviously 69. There you go. It was definitely for me, a very embarrassing moment as a boxing fan to watch Tyson Fury get dropped by an MMA fighter. I couldn't believe what I was watching, quite frankly. But nonetheless, it's a moment that's going to live in infamy. It was a moment that everyone will talk about for years, no matter what happens moving forward. And it was the moment. That moment captured the imagination of a lot of people, for what it's worth. Francis Ngannou gained a lot of fans with that moment alone, and like and the reason I say, for better or for worse, maybe some of us didn't want that to happen. For MMA fans, it was a moment of infamy. Like, you know what I mean? It's a big moment for MMA history, even though it was a boxing match. But nonetheless, that's how they were talking about it. I actually went around, listened to some MMA podcasts, and they were talking about it like it was a historic moment, like it's kind of a big leap forward for MMA in that moment against Big Brother boxing. You know, it is what it is. So we're just gonna have to deal with it. We're just gonna have to accept it. And you guys are more than welcome to tell me what moment was bigger than that, and what moment meant more than that. Just like I can't think of one, to be quite frank. In terms of from a historical perspective, in terms of the impact, in terms of its significance, in terms of its shock value, in terms of everything, that was just something I'll never forget. And not in a positive. It doesn't mean it's a positive thing. I'm just saying I'll never forget it. All right. Event of the year. I have some nominees here. Now, these I'm just going to verbally put out there. There's Canelo versus Jermell, undisputed versus undisputed. That's nominee number one. Crawford versus Spence, many calling it the fight of the decade. It was a fight we all been waiting for a long time. One of the biggest welterweight fights of all time in terms of significance. And Crawford put on a hell of a performance, beat the hell out of Spence in a process, very one-sided. So was the Canelo fight, by the way. You have the Day of Reckoning, that's number three. Ngannou Fury, number four. All right. And of course, we got to put Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia as the other event. That was, whether we like it or not, the highest grossing event of the year. 1.2 million are the reported numbers. The gate was also the highest by about 2 million or a million, I believe. So it was a big event. It was Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis, Golden Boy, and we know it's really PBC, but whatever. But nonetheless, the Zone and Showtime worked together to put that event together, and I never got my money back from the Zone, by the way. Just want to put that out there. I'm actually thinking about going back to that with them, giving them an FYI, hey, by the way. But I think the event of the year, we got to factor everything, okay? We got to factor in how big the event was. At least I do. How big was the event? How much did it sell? How much did it generate? It's an event, right? Maybe factor in the undercard a little bit, the hype into the hype going into the fight, and then we also got to factor in, did it deliver? The night itself, the aftermath of it, the significance of it, how it's going to age. We've got to factor in all those things. Got to be honest, Canelo Charlo kind of fell short with that in many respects. And that was mainly due to Charlo. So it's got to put that out there. Even though Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis was the highest grossing event of the year and it did over $1 million, and somebody could definitely say that's the event of the year. And if you're just a numbers guy straight up, that's it. I get it. Their Reckoning was, a big event as well, at least for us hardcore boxing fans. But I have to go with Crawford versus Spence. Well, it did do close to 700,000. It did do over 20 million at the gate. So the numbers are respectable, very respectable. But although the fight didn't live up to, it wasn't like a historical fight. It was a historical beatdown. It was a historical, significant fight in terms of the performance of Terrence Crawford. It's going to be up there with like when Salvador Sanchez beat up Gomez, for example. It's always going to live in infamy. And that is a moment I will never forget. And it was a fight we waited a long time to get. So to me, in my humble opinion, my award for the event of the year is going to go to Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. From the lead up to the aftermath and its effect moving forward in boxing. It's something that we're going to have to talk about for years. Shout out to Remy once again with $2 holla. What ass whooping of the year go for Spence versus Bud. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but shout out to you, brother. I definitely appreciate it. Lisa Bales, always supporting the channel, by the way. That is a super sticker. All right, of what is that, like is that like a baby cow on a chair, like chilling, like moving quickly in the chair? You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. I appreciate it, and look, Lisa Bill's always sharing the show, always tweeting it out. Not just mine, by the way. It's always, she's always sharing others people's content. From Christine to whether it's Ringside Reporter, Boxing Beats and Rhymes, I believe Lady Chan, and she can name them in the chat. She always sharing the content, and that's how you support the content creators out here. I'm just saying, okay? And once again, shout out to Bruce Goss. Okay, look. Chicano says Canelo releasing his alcoholic drink is his event of the year. Some people might say the WBC convention was the event of the year, but I'm going to go with Spence versus Crawford in my humble opinion. Okay, I just want to put that out there for event of the year. Network of the year. Now, granted, I don't live in Australia. I don't live in the UK, so I can't comment on that. So sue me. I'm basing this off of where I live. I live in the United States and the content I have. Okay, let me take this moment to say this is just me. I encourage everyone out there, to subscribe to these networks. Subscribe to ESPN Plus. Subscribe to, if you can, to The Zone. If you can't subscribe month to month, pick it up when it's a month you really like or a fight you really want to see. Subscribe to Peacock if you can. I know they're going to have boxing. Prime for PBC moving forward. Support boxing in that way, and it's good for the health of the sport. And so we don't lose boxing streaming. And because let me tell you something, if somebody decides not to stream it anymore, the people that steal it and sell it to you or show it to you aren't the ones broadcasting it, so they won't have anything to show you either. So we got to think long term. We got to support the sport, and we got to start showing these networks that boxing fans care about the sport. Right? That's the message I have. I understand it could get expensive. I understand maybe the pay-per-views are a bit much. I get that, but the least you could do is support the apps, because that's what we have moving forward. I just want to put that out there. I agree, Stephen. We got to financially support the sport, or it can go away. You know what I mean? So we have to be the ones that subsidize the sport. Like, you know what I mean? And if the market understands that we're paying for it, we also have more of a say in the process as well. Not to say that we're not. I know that most of you here already subscribe. I understand most hardcores are the only ones that pay for boxing. The casuals don't. We carry it. So we need to continue to do so. With that said, the network of the year. Now, granted, now it's there's Showtime. Showtime had a monster year in terms of pay-per-view. In fact, the event of the year I gave you was a Showtime event. So they had these big monster events. In fact, the other one that was nominated, 3 of them that were nominated by me were all Showtime events. And then, of course, they had World Championship Boxing, some Showbox. There wasn't a lot. I think it was, but it was a good year for sure. If they went out good, then they went out with a bang. Okay. And then there's ESPN Plus. ESPN Plus, again, multiple events. They had the highest viewed fight of the year in terms of viewership eyeballs, which I believe was Teofimo against Tater, unless that changed since then. The most watts on the network. We had, I believe, just one pay-per-view, which was Haney versus Lomachenko, which is a hell of a fight worth pay-per-view, in my opinion, at a discounted price. And then, of course, we had other boxing events as well throughout the year. Many of them from Valdez, Navarrete, was a pretty big one as well. And some not so great, like the Shakur Stevenson fight. I get that, but we did have Navarrete against Conceição on an undercard. Great undercards all around. We even got to learn about Jared Anderson's dog. My one criticism of ESPN would be that they take so long to get the fights done, but then again, they're not the only ones that do that to us. Shout out to Crystal. How you doing? Remy, how's it going? And of course, then there's the Zone. The Zone had a pretty decent year as well, although they had a lot of gaps of dead air. A lot of fights that were okay, but I wasn't quite sure why they were on undercards. They didn't quite match in some cases, in my opinion. But nonetheless, I think Matchroom is still kind of getting the grip of the market. They're improving little by little, but they did good with the Haney, at least there in San Francisco. Although I'm hearing the pay-per-view numbers weren't all that great, but they did have some pay-per-views. They did give us Canelo versus Ryder, which is a great event, by the way. I just didn't nominate it. It was over there in Mexico against Ryder, but we did have to pay for it. I just don't think that was pay-per-view worthy. I just think the Zone, for what they charge, it just wasn't quite worth. It doesn't quite meet the bang for the buck that ESPN Plus met. To me, the app of the year, network of the year is ESPN Plus. The best bang for your buck. They delivered the best boxing overall, especially for the price point, especially for consistency. It wasn't just a couple of events. It was a good number of events. So I can't complain about ESPN Plus. They are the network of the year, in my opinion. Okay, I just want to put that out there. All right. With that said, I think we're ready to go over some of these awards. Okay. Look, I'm gonna start off. Should I start off with? Let's start off with knockout of the year. Okay, we're gonna start off with knockout of the year here. Okay. You guys could actually check this out. In my you guys could check this out in my shorts. All of the nominees or whatever. Let's go ahead and start here, if I may. This is the knockout of the year nominees. Okay, right here. So first we have Rayo knocking out Colbert. Okay, that was a brutal knockout. All right. Also nominated, Nakatani knocking out Maloney, brutal. Opetaya knocking out Zorro. All right. Mendoza knocking out Fundura. That was Timber. And Gratz knocking out Taliva. Now, that last knockout, a lot of you probably haven't seen it. I get it. All right. I understand that. But I would recommend watching that knockout. It's a brutal knockout if I've ever seen one. And I'm going to tell you who I think is a knockout of the year. I have to be straightforward. I have to be honest. Of course. All right. This was a tough one. By the way, there's some other knockouts that deserve a lot of honorable mentions. Roach had a sweet one early in the year. I just barely left it out. But these are the ones that I picked. Okay. I have to be very straightforward with you. Also, Joe Joyce getting knocked out by Zhang is another big one, by the way. Just barely left that one out. Look, I'm going to have to go with Nakatani knocking out Maloney. All right. That was a brutal knockout. Maloney was laid out in the canvas, which usually happens with a knockout of the year candidate. You could say the same about all of them, but there was something extra, something very devastating about that stoppage. That was a big knockout blow. I can't even tell you which is the runner-up because it was so close. I was close to picking either one of these, really. But I'm going to have to go with Nakatani knocking out Maloney as a 2023 DStyleBoxing knockout of the year. That's what I'm rolling with. But DStyle, like, what do you mean? But Zorro looked dead. He did. I mean, that's why I nominated. It was a brutal knockout. Okay. Rayo getting his payback, and Cobra falling face first the way he did, and in the pose, I came really close, honest to God. For half the day today, I was convinced it was Rayo, but then I rewatched them before the show, and I said, because I kind of knew it was going to be the Maloney one, then I switched it earlier in the day, and then I went back. I'm going to have to go now. The Fundura one, even though he stood up and shook his head like he wasn't laid out, it was just the aesthetic of it, the way he went down. It was just brutal, bro. Like the way it was like timber, like boom. It was brutal. It was brutality at its finest. But I'm going to have to go with Nakatani knocking out Maloney. It was a brutal stoppage. Nakatani is a problem at 115 pounds. Super flyweight, watch out. And bantamweight, short after, watch out. Nakatani's coming. Okay. He can't be Bam, but he could beat the rest. But I'm not going to lie to you. If he fought Bam, I'd be a little worried in that fight. That's not a foregone conclusion whatsoever. You know what I mean? It just isn't. So next nomination, and if you guys want to tell me what your knockout of the year is, feel more than free. But once again, hit the like button, share this video on our social media platforms. Let's go to the next one. All right. Excuse the delay and all that. I didn't have time to set everything up, so I'm using screen share. I wanted to use here, but I just didn't have the time. Upset of the year. I want you to reflect a little bit and think about the upsets of the year. A lot of upsets to really look at here, okay? But let's go ahead and look at upset of the year. These are the nominations. First fight, Joe Joyce against Zhang. Zhang smashes Joe Joyce's eye. Joe Joyce was a huge favorite going into this fight, is what a lot of people don't understand. And even in the rematch, he wasn't that. I believe he was an underdog, but they had it almost even. I mean, it's the respect the odds makers had for Joyce was amazing. But Joyce was a huge favorite going into this fight, and for Zhang to pull off that upset, it was a big deal. And now Zhang is in the mix. And as you can see, a lot of guys aren't really in a rush to fight Zhang. He's a huge star in China, by the way. Probably the most watched, by the analytics, the most watched boxer in the history of TikTok. Obviously, TikTok's based out of China, so it's probably why. Um, Another one. This one is was Via firing away at Rashidi Alice. Look, man, I wasn't really expecting this one. Villa's a tough dude, as we know. He even gave I thought he gave Boots a pretty decent fight as well after this, by the way. But Ellis, has switched from Golden Boy or whatever, and he had a win over Rocha. At the time, was seen as more impressive than it probably is now, but I still think it's a good win. For Villa to pull off this win, it was a really good fight too, by the way. Really good fight. I thought it was a really, really good upset for Villa right there. I did not expect that. Another one was the very first Smith versus Eubank fight, right? I was not in any way, shape, or form. I was not expecting Leon Smith to win this fight. In hindsight, I think the elbow did some serious damage, and then he just capitalized from there. And it was a brutal sight to see, as you can see. And Liam Smith, even though he lost a rematch, that kind of shows you why this was a big upset. Big upset, in my opinion. Espinosa swarms Martinez. Ramirez, I'm sorry. Ramirez, of course, as we all know, gold medalist that beat Shakur Stevenson in the Olympics. It's now the second loss for Ramirez. He lost his pro debut, for those that don't remember. He later avenged it. Will he avenge this one? We'll see. But Espinosa out of Mexico, tall, lengthy, right? Doesn't stop throwing. Fights really good from the outside, the inside. I underestimated his footwork. I underestimated his speed. And also, determination goes a long way. But let me tell you something. The engine on this guy is unbelievable. He overwhelmed Ramirez. Ramirez even knocked him down. He got back up. His foot was injured. I believe it was his ankle, and he kept coming forward. He kept coming after Ramirez. He overwhelmed him to the point where Ramirez survived the 12th. He almost stopped him in the 12th round. And it was a big, big win for Espinosa out of Mexico. All right. I thought it was a very impressive win for sure. And of course, we have Mendoza. Brian Mendoza ices the towering Inferno. Keep in mind, Fondor was coming off a Fight of the Year candidate win over Lubin. Just where he was knocked down and got back up. He just brutalized Lubin, overwhelmed him, just rearranged his face and swarmed him. And Lubin just couldn't keep up with that. He tries the same thing to Mendoza. Has some success, obviously. This was a fight. But Mendoza found home with a big sequence of I believe it was a right hand and a hook, or I have it reversed, one or the other. But he definitely iced them, and the towering Inferno got iced. And he went down like a ton of bricks. And I don't even think he knew where the hell he was, quite frankly. He was shaking his head at the ref. I honestly just don't think he knew where the hell he was. It was a huge upset. I believe Mendoza was a 10-1 underdog. He goes out there, and this win got him his big title shot against Tim Tszyu, where he showed a lot of heart and determination as well, by the way, in a losing spirited effort. Parker takes Wilder to school. All right. Let me tell you something. All right. Let me tell you something. And you guys let me know as I'm going over the list who you think is the upset of the year, or who you believe I'm going to pick. Or if it's somebody outside the list, again, let us know in chat. Parker takes Wilder to school. Look, I thought Parker would probably be ahead on the scorecard, but I felt he would eventually, like in the mid rounds, or maybe like 5th or 6th, something like that, will get caught with something big. A right hand. I thought the Alabama slammer was going to land. It just never found home. He landed it a couple times late in the fight, but he was already exhausted. The legs were weary, and the Samoan took him anyway. Parker is the one that actually hurt him with the right hand in the 8th round, had him reeling. I scored 11-1 I could have easily scored at 12-0. I see a lot of 10-2s, 11-1s, 12 zips when it comes to this fight. It was a virtual shutout and a great boxing performance by Parker. He took Deontay Wilder to school. So not just the fact that it was a big underdog going into the fight, but the fact that he never got hurt, he never got dropped. He's the only man that Wilder's ever stepped in a foot in the ring with that Wilder did not at least knock down. Yes, Severn didn't get knocked down in their fight, but he did knock down and knock out Severn in the rematch. So maybe that'll change in these two rematch. But as of right now, Joseph Parker is the only man alive that has fought Wilder that has remained on his feet of the times he's fought him. So with that said, I thought this was a really good win. All right. And these right here, this is the fight. Upset of the year candidates. I thought all of these are worthy. All of these were great. It's hard to say which one, but it's time to let everyone know who DStyleBoxing picked as the upset of the year. All right, who's ready to hear the upset of the year? Because I'm telling you right now, I'm about to announce it, ladies and gentlemen. The 2024 DStyleBoxing Award for upset of the year in my book. All right. It is, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to have to go with Espinosa, Swarmy Ramirez. This narrowly, this was tough, but I thought no one saw that coming. This guy was a 12-1 underdog, all right? And he goes out there and almost stops him in the 12th round, overwhelms him. I thought Espinosa did amazing and is also a nominee for Fight of the Year. And I'm going to say El Divino, right? Gets this one very narrowly, though. I thought they're all worthy. Obviously, I nominated them, but I'm going to have to go with Espinosa upsetting Robesi Ramirez. That was not easy, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to put that out there. I saw a lot of people saying, look, Parker beating Wilder is definitely up there. I could have easily picked it, but I'm going to go with Espinosa against Ramirez. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Next up, we're going to go with performance of the year. Think of all the performances this year. There's been a lot of them. All right? A lot of great performances. And we're going to go over them right now. All right? We're going to go over them, ladies and gentlemen. Performance of the year. First nominated. By the way, I have 7 of them. By the way, just putting that out there. There's so many great performances. I couldn't leave it at just 5. Inoue decimates Fulton. By the way, look at that visual. That's out of a movie, bro. That was right before the stoppage. Fulton was a unified champion. Those that don't remember, I mean, he gave Danny Romano, a really good boxer, by the way. Just shut him out, give him a boxing lesson. Fulton was coming out victors over I forget the name of the Figueroa, sorry. He was coming off a good win. In my opinion, controversial, but nonetheless, it was a good fight of the year candidate type fight. Beat a much bigger Figueroa. Fulton was doing his thing. Beat Leo a couple years ago. I mean, he's been doing his thing, and he was by many considered the best fighter of this weight class. And there's always questions like, okay, is this it for it? Like, is Inoue biting more than he can chew here? He started at 108. Now he's going to go to 102. With these smaller guys, but we got to keep in mind that the body mass percentage, right? It's just the pound matters more down here than it does in the higher weight classes. It's a much bigger deal. And in a way, goes to 122 in his very first fight against a unified champion, right? I'm expecting a pretty competitive fight where I thought Inoue would win a decision, 8-4 type decision. Fulton doesn't win a round. He just decimates him, and just destroys him. And there's no other way to put it. He just styled on Fulton and made it look easy. It was kind of scary to watch. And Inoue did his thing. And Inoue was going in here, by the way, with critics saying things that he's going to get exposed. He's a hype job. Watch when the American beats him. Like, a lot of this stuff was being said. And he goes out there and passes it with flying colors. And by the way, going into the match, I mean, all the unnecessary. You're going to see a theme here. Whenever guys have great performances, people come up with the craziest conspiracy theories. Oh, he stacked his raps and all this other crazy nonsense. It was the rapping was perfectly legal. Plenty of fighters stack, if you want to call it that. But it wasn't stacking anyway. Inoue's raps were perfectly legal, and that is that. Okay, I just want to put that out there. All right, and number 2, bam, not a sunny day. You've had a lot of sunny days, my friend, but you still can't get the job done. Right? Look, shout out to Chicano Prophet, by the way, that came up with it, and I just like stole it from him. But another shout out to him. He don't do shows anyway. You know what I mean? That was my reasoning. But here's the thing. Shout out to him. But nonetheless, Bam Rodriguez did his thing. I actually, speaking of Chicano, I was out there. I watched the fight with him, by the way. Great performance by Bam. And many expected a clinic by Edwards. Oh, Edward, the movement, and Bam doesn't know how to cut off the ring, and this, that, and the third. And Bam goes out there and just completely has no problem at all with the footwork. Edwards couldn't do anything, and he just outclassed him, quite frankly. Damaged his eye, and just put a beating on him. Upstairs, downstairs. Edwards obviously had his moment. He's a good fighter, right? But Bam overall put on a hell of a clinic, and I think established himself as the very clear-cut best 112-pounder, the best flyweight on the planet, bar none. All right? Zhang runs over Joyce. Now, let me tell you something. Picking between, shout out to Jesus, by the way. Picking between the first fight and the second fight was kind of tough because he just ran over Joyce. So I'm actually going by the second fight. Even the first one could be nominated too, but it was a little competitive until it wasn't. That second fight, he just ran over Joyce. I mean, I couldn't believe he just knocked him smooth out. But before that, every time he touched him, Joyce just looked hesitant. He was just rocking him all over the place. I don't know what happened to the Juggernaut, but the Juggernaut got. The Juggernaut got. Okay, I mean, shout out to Zhang. That was a hell of a performance. I'm just going to put that out there. That second fight. All right. You tell me you were more impressed by the first fight or the second fight. Tim Tszyu pulverizes Tony the Tiger Harrison from Detroit. By the way, this fight was in Australia. No Limit promoted the fight. It aired on Showtime here in the United States. It was one of those fights one of the closest fights for main events of the year that No Limit put on. Okay, not PBC. I just want to put that out there. But it was on Showtime. And I guess it was Premier Boxing Champions, but whatever. Tim Tszyu pulverizes Harrison, completely annihilates him. Now, I know what you'll say, but he's lost before. Keep in mind, Harrison has a win over Jermell Charlo. And I believe was winning the rematch against Jermell until he started to showboat, then he got caught and knocked out. Many expect, I remember a lot of American fighters, okay? One of them being Errol Spence specifically saying, Tony's going to outbox him with ease. It's not an upset. This guy ain't ready. He ain't ready for the Americans. And The Americans this and the Americans that, and you ain't ready for America. This guy's an Australian. Don't you understand? Tony Harrison came out of a vagina in the U.S. Don't you understand? That makes him better. And he goes out there and remember I said about conspiracy theories? So they were saying there was something wrong with the water. I think Jermel said the water made him weaker or some dumb shit like that. I don't know what that was about, but what made this impressive to me is not the fact that Tim won or even that he stopped Harrison, although that adds to it. It's the fact that he was completely shutting out Harrison and made him look every bit of old that people said he was after the fact. He completely dominated this fight and pulverized Tony Harrison. Harrison was not winning the fight, then got knocked out. No, he was getting pulverized and then got stopped by a series of unbelievable uppercuts, by the way. Here's another one. Oh, we know the Canelo fanboys are going to be mad at this one. I'm just kidding. Don't get emotional. Like, I'm just being an asshole, but shout out to Corey Lee, by the way. Daniel, how's it going? Let me know what do you guys see? And look, Benavidez destroys Andrade. Just completely goes out there and annihilates him. I was hearing Andrade was the boogeyman. Andrade's going to outbox him. He's more athletic. He's faster. Benavidez is flat-footed. All the shit I was saying. But anyway, Benavidez went out and just beat the shit out of him. Like, you know what I mean? This is a good old-fashioned ass whooping. That's what it was, okay? And when Andrade tried all his dumb tactics, bending below the waist, he got hit behind the head and complained. The ref told him, hey, don't bend below the waist, right? Try to hold. The ref didn't let him do it. He had to fight. God forbid these guys are forced to fight because it's a fight game. You know what I mean? You want to watch Greco-Roman wrestling? Greco-Roman wrestling is an actual sport. Right? You want to watch throwing, all that? There's judo. There's Brazilian jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? We got all types of stuff. But Andrade got the Andrade beat out of him. I'm just going to have to call him Andrade. Okay? Like, I mean, Benavidez whooped his ass. There's no other way to put it. Right? And it was all she wrote, rearranged his face. It was an absolute beatdown and one of the best performances of the year. Maybe the winner of the year. I don't know. Uh-oh. The Canelo fanboy's going to get angry at this one. All right. Crawford annihilation of Errol the Truth Spence. That's Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford beat Errol Spence so bad that even the people that picked Crawford to win got it wrong. What? What do you mean? Like, even the people that picked Crawford to win by stoppage got it wrong. What? Even the people that say Crawford, because most people were saying, oh, it's going to be competitive for 3 or 4 rounds, and then Crawford's going to take over. And then he's going to beat his ass. Even y'all got it wrong. You were so wrong, you owe an apology to Bud Crawford by how wrong you were. All right? Because Crawford controlled this fight from the very start. Like, round 1 was a feel-out round. After that, it was all she wrote. The ass beating started from round 2. The jab was landing in round 1, by the way, but that jab was like a piston in this fight, right? It was countering Errol Spence all night, beating him. He was first. He was countering when Spence was trying to get back at him. And when Spence would pick up the pace, when he would turn it up, Crawford turned it up even more. And the harder Spence came, the harder he got hit. The harder he tried, the harder he failed. The more he got up, the more he got knocked down. He was getting beat up so bad. Crawford went over and looked. He looked at your man, like grabbed his crotch and was like, "You're next, motherfucker!" Like while he was beating up Errol Spence. I was waiting for him to get out of the ring and beat up this dude. This was an absolute annihilation It was so bad, people are questioning if Errol Spence was ever good. Oh, was Spence ever good? He was ever good. That's how bad he beat him. I'm just saying. Lastly, Teofimo Lopez. I'll get the graphic back up here, but Teofimo Lopez. Oh, by the way, speaking of conspiracies, yeah, people came out, oh, the gloves. He did something to the gloves. Have to be. He did something to the glove. That's why he beat Errol Spence the way he beat him. So we got the water in Australia, we got Bud Crawford's gloves, and then the wraps of Inoue, right? I don't know. There's probably conspiracies for the other ones too, by the way. I just want to put that out there. So look, Teofimo outclassed the lineal champion, 140 pounds, Josh Taylor from Scotland. Teofimo Lopez was coming off two. Look, he won the fight. I thought he won the Martin fight. Some people say he did it. I thought he won, but Martin was being too negative in that damn fight. Y'all like just do what? Because he was running around the ring. Like y'all just want to give him the fucking fight or what? Oh, that was defense. Defense. The dude did like 4 miles around the track, bro. Like, what do you mean defense? You avoided engagement. Plus, I thought Teal pulled it off. All bullshit aside, I thought Teal pulled off a very close decision against Frank Martin. I also thought the fight before that he won every round, like whatever. But we weren't seeing vintage Teofimo like remember like do I still got it, like all that, like we were questioning his mental state going into the fight, and he's going in there against a big favorite, by the way, very important, and Josh Taylor, the lineal champion. Many consider still undisputed because he never lost the belts, but nonetheless. I believe, what was it, WBO? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong about the belt. I believe it was WBO and Lenio on the line. Teofimo goes out there. Round one's like, okay, like almost every fight. It's, feel out what's going on. Teal won the round, and then Teal just kept winning the rounds. And we're like waiting for Josh Taylor, like, okay, maybe round 4 he's gonna like pick up the pace, and he just couldn't keep up with Teofimo Lopez. Point blank. Teofimo Lopez just showed he was at a whole different level, and he was locked in. And we saw vintage Teofimo, and he started showboating and everything in the second half of the fight, and Josh Taylor couldn't do shit about it. He tried. And Josh Taylor's a good fighter, bro. I'm just telling you right now, Josh Taylor is a really good fighter, but Teofimo Lopez gave him a boxing lesson. He outclassed him, right? In a very probable performance of the year, given the fact of how big of an upset it was, and given the fact of how he surpassed all expectations. This was a great performance by Teofimo Lopez. This performance was so good, people put him back on the pound for pound list after this. And they're like, oh, we got to put this dude back in. I'm like, how did he lose to Kambosos, bro? I still maintain it was something. I don't want to make excuses, but I think there was something wrong with Teofimo that night when he fought Kambosos. Not to take anything away from Kambosos. That's not Kambosos' fault. But I just got to put that out. WBO, thank you. So what is the performance of the year? Performance of the year, the 2023 DStyleBoxing performance of the year. Out of all these right here, I'm going to do a process of elimination just to make it a little better for you. I'm first going to eliminate Tim Tszyu Harrison. I'm then going to eliminate Zhang Choice. Is yours still there? Is one of y'all still there, by the way? Oh, what am I doing, bro? What am I doing? I'm messing this whole thing up right now. Look at this, bro. All right, there we go. Man, I'm messing up this whole thing, bro. Like I don't know what I'm doing. No, look at this, bro. All right. Hold on, guys. Let me arrange this. Oh, there we go. So I eliminated Tim Tszyu. against Harrison. In fairness, great performance, by the way. I just think it's out of all these, it's not up there with the rest. And then Zhang Joyce, like Charlie said, it was a rematch. He already beaten him, so it kind of takes away a little bit. But I still think it was a great performance, by the way. But we're comparing it with these, okay? Next, I'm gonna eliminate Benavidez Andrade. All the Canelo fans are gonna like that one. No, it's like I'm gonna eliminate that one. By the way, honorable mention, Haney, Prograis, honorable mention. It just didn't quite make it from, but I'm just saying it was very close. I almost put it in. But anyway, I'm removing that fight, so that's been eliminated. Got 3 more, ladies and gentlemen. And then I'm going to eliminate Bam against Edwards. That one's been eliminated. All right. Great performance again. But with the top 3, it falls short. Look, Teofimo Tater, Crawford Spence, and then, of course, Inoue against Fulton are for sure like a big deal to me. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I'm going to eliminate Inoue Fulton. Oh, this is getting tough. So Inoue Fulton's been eliminated. We're down to 2. So no need to announce a runner-up because that one's self-explanatory. So the 2023 DStyleBoxing Performance of the Year goes to, when I hosted the round table like 2 weeks ago, that was a hell of a performance. I'm saying the performance of the year, ladies and gentlemen, 2023 performance of the year. Crawford versus Spence. Crawford's utter destruction of Errol Spence is, in my mind, the performance of the year. You follow me on Twitter. You already knew that, by the way. I had already spoiled that one, but I have to play the part nonetheless. I'm gonna have to go with Crawford versus Spence. And let me tell you something. That is one of the best performances of the decade. So it's not just a year. That one's going to be in discussions for like when the decade's over. That one might be nominated. So we'll see how it ages, especially let's see how Spence looks and all that moving forward. But I think Spence might make some noise at 154. So that is that. But hey, can't go wrong with any of those. All right, I just want to put that out there. You can't go wrong with any of those. We're going to go ahead and keep it moving here. All right? We keep it moving. So we did performance of the year. And now we're going to do, let's say fight of the year. We're going to do fight of the year. Not yet. Not yet. Let's do, yeah. Let's do upset of the year, ladies and gentlemen. You guys ready? Think of all the upsets you saw this year. Put them in the chat. Let's see if they're nominated or not. All right. Shout out to Daniel Engru. Shout out to you. It was a great. I had 7 nominated, and I could have nominated more. Righty Yogi. I could have done more. All right. Upset of the year. Man, this is interesting right here. Now we're talking. Okay. Upset of the year. By the way, you guys can always watch this on my shorts, on my Twitter, on my Instagram, or on my TikTok. They're on all of them. Zhang smashes Joyce's eye. All right. Hey, did I already do upset of the year? I did, huh? I did. What am I talking about? All right, we're going to go to the next one, ladies and gentlemen. I already did that one. What the hell am I talking about? I did kill the year, too. All right. All right. Defiance Award. You guys got to tell me this. I already did that shit. What are you doing? What are you do it twice? What's going on right now? All right. Shout out to Hucker Mustang, Remy, Riding Yogi, HLD. All right. HLD. If Francis Ngannou would have gotten the nod, because we got to go by official, right? That would have been the upset of the year. I just want to put that out there. Like nothing would have beat that. Nothing. All right. Nothing would have beat that. I saw some people putting him knocking down Fury was the upset of the year. They're probably right. So we're gonna go with Defiance Award. Let me tell you what the Defiance. It's kind of like a come from behind win. Only you don't necessarily have to win. Like it could be even in a defeat. It could be you could get a draw. You can, but it's just defying all the odds while you're in the jaws, of defeat. When you just look like this defeated fighter that has no shot to win, and then all of a sudden, boom, you get a knockout. All of a sudden, boom, you turn the fight around. All of a sudden, boom, you're like you show a moment of heart that nobody anticipated. You just show defiance. Let me give you like an example of defiance while in the grasp within the jaws of defeat. Although it's not nominated, it didn't make a nomination, but it would be Ryder. Okay, Ryder in the ring against Canelo. He was getting beat up. He got knocked down. He's bleeding. He's hurt, but he gets up. And he makes a fight of it to where he's exchanging punches with Canelo at the end of that fight. They're throwing chingazos. Like they were fucking true. That was a hell of a fight, by the way. They didn't quite make fight of the year for me, but nonetheless, it was a hell of a fight. It was defiant. Like that's what it was. But that one didn't quite make the cut. You know what I mean? Kind of helps if you win. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. But could have been nominated. You know what I mean? Could have done it. You know what I'm saying? Let's go with the Defiance Award here. Many don't remember this. Lee Wood actually fought Lara early this year. The first fight. Lee Wood was boxing beautifully. And then, boom, in the middle round, I believe it was round 7, Bronco drops Wood with a devastating hook. And Ben Davison throws in the towel. Very controversial, but he looked out of it, Lee Wood. And it was a big win for Marishola, who went on to lose the rematch, by the way. That big moment there was no defiant moment for the lethargic Bronco Lara in the rematch. But big moment. Defiant for sure. Speaking of Lee Wood, Wood was bloody from a cut. He was getting beat up in the exchanges. It looked like it was going to be. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you, Josh Warrington was beating the hell out of Wood. And while Wood had his moments, it's just like he was just getting beat up in exchanges. The commentators are wondering, oh, maybe he stayed in his weight class too long. Maybe, that people were saying that on Twitter. Like, I don't know. And then there was still hope, and the hope came out of nowhere. He gets a stop. He gets a brutal combination. He had some big shots in the 6 as well, but he was just defined in that moment. Channeled in his own version of Mauricio Lara and came back and won in the 7th by a brutal stoppage. Warrington got up and he walked over to the ropes over there, and I don't know, he was looking up at the rafters. I don't know what he was looking at. And while the ref's trying to get his attention, the ref waves it off, and then Warrington's like, "You're stopping it, why?" And he's like looking. I don't know. He was out of it, but that was a big win by Lee Wood. Great atmosphere, by the way. Definitely Defiance. Let me know what your nominations are, by the way. All right. O'Quinn, I saw this one live, by the way, with Chicano Prophet. O'Quinn was getting styled on and outclassed. I mean, McGrail was showboating. Like he was embarrassing this dude. I was like, look at this dude. He's embarrassing him, bro. I even tweeted out, I tweeted out, O'Quinn has no answers. Then I look up, boom, and it was all she wrote. Quinn got knocked the fuck out, bro. McGregor, I'm sorry. McGregor got knocked the fuck out. That was an by the way, could have been nominated for knockout of the year as well, by the way. That was a brutal knockout. But definitely Defiant within the grasp of the jaws of defeat for sure. Speaking of Defiance, how can we leave out Oshaki Foster trailing on the card? I misspelled it, by the way. I put training. And scores. I mean, look, this open scoring in Mexico. I thought Hernandez was winning, but Jesus Christ, like one of the judges didn't even give Foster a round. It was crazy. So he definitely wasn't going to win the scorecards. They have open scoring. So he knows he's behind. He knows he needs to go out there. And they have, by the way, round 11, beautiful round. Beautiful round. Round 12, by the way, round of the year, round 12. Like, that's the round of the year. Foster goes out there and scores one of the most clutch stoppage finishes. Channels in is Frotch Taylor. I don't know what it is about the last name Taylor, but Chavez Taylor. And he goes out there and he gets a last second stoppage. Not much left in the round. Stops Rocky Hernandez in traumatic fashion in Mexico. That was Defiant as it gets, ladies and gentlemen. What else could beat that? Well, there's one more nominee. They're all great, by the way. Conceição, by the way, it was a great fight. Could have been nominated for Fight of the Year. I did not nominate it, but it was a great fight, by the way. Conceição takes a beating in the 11th. He comes back to not only survive the 12th, but win the 12th round. And earn a draw on a judge's scorecards because of it. But also a moral victory. And in most people's minds, pulled off the W. They believe he should have had his arm raised. This Brazilian was all heart in his fight. And he was defiant till the end. I remember after the 11th, I tweeted out, they need to stop this fight. Conceição didn't look good walking back to his corner. This could have been a disastrous story. Okay, more so than a Cinderella story, very easily. But, hey, his trainers know him. They know what he's got, obviously. Conceição, perhaps too tough for his own good, but defiant. And in this case, proved to work out for him. And a well-earned draw, and in many opinions, and most eyes, won this fight against Emmanuel Navarrete. It could have been the upset of the year if they would have given him the nod. So those are my Defiant awards, or I'm sorry, nominees. So who wins the DStyleBoxing 2023 DStyleBoxing Defiance Award goes to, let's do a process of elimination. All right. Oh, this is tough. I don't even know why I put myself through this. We're going to remove Mauricio Lara because he's a big puncher and we could kind of expect that more than the other guys. Like Lara wins fights like that. He lands that big punch. He's not a guy that outboxes you. He's a guy that seeks and destroys, lands a big shot, stops you. So even it was still a Defiant, but and maybe it's unfair to use that against him, but nonetheless. Man. Next, we're going to eliminate Wood over Warrington. Wood was the favorite going into that fight, and compared to these others, I just got to leave it out. Oh, man. Shit. Next, I don't even know which to remove now. This is great. This is tough. Oh, Quinn knocking out, getting the knockout. I'm gonna. Oh man, I already said it. So Quinn's gonna get eliminated. So it comes down to the last two. All right. I'm going to edge it. No need to announce the runner-up. The 2023 DStyleBoxing Defiance Award goes to O'Shaquie Foster, getting that big stoppage win. Clutch, gets a stoppage, edges it out only because it was a stoppage, and he got the W. That's the one difference. It's pretty even to me, but that's the one difference. I'm gonna have to give it to O'Shaquie Foster. All right. I thought that was an unbelievable fight, by the way. I just want to put that out there. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and say that. That's right, each other. I gotta give the suspense. We gotta do the suspense and all that. You know what I mean? O'Shaquie Foster gets it. Like that was a great performance, bro. You know what I mean? Let me make sure we did KO, right? We did KO. We did upset. We haven't done fighter yet. Let's do fighter of the year. All right. We're in the fight of the year, ladies and gentlemen. This is the big one. One of the big ones. To me, fight of the year is just as big as fighter of the year, but you know, to each their own. Let's go ahead and talk about fighter of the year. First of all, who do you guys have as fight of the year? I know people said that O'Shaquie Foster. He didn't make my cut, but you could put him there as a nominee. I don't know who else you could put, other than the guys I have here, to be honest. But let's go over it. We're going to talk about it. Right? Fight of the year nominees. First, the Canelo fans are going to get mad at this one. Anyway, look, David Benavidez had a great year, beating Caleb Plant. To me, those were the 2 and number 3 in the division, and he beat the number 3 and decisively in the second half. I thought the first half was competitive, and then he took over in the second half. The engine of Benavidez is what was a difference, and he put a beat down on Plant in the last few rounds. So something they should have probably stopped it. And then he goes out there and destroys who many called the boogeyman in Andrade. He just utterly decimated him. So destroyed him. So David Benavidez is definitely a nominee for fight of the year. Gotta put that out there. You know what I mean? Numero dos. This is in no particular order, by the way. Naoya Inoue, Monster Inoue, starts the year beginning his campaign at 122 pounds. Shortly after, he became undisputed at 118 last year. He comes back this year and starts off the year directly going to the guy in the division, Fulton, Stephen Fulton, Scooter, right? And we thought, Scooter's going to beat his ass and all this other stuff, right? Scooter didn't beat any ass. Like, okay. In a way, just outclassed him. And then he beats Tapales. Tapales early in the year, you could have nominated for upset of the year, by the way, beat MJ in a really good fight, close fight, but he got a win over MJ. And MJ's a pretty good fighter. So he goes out there and he becomes undisputed by beating Tapales in a unification. That is Inoue's year. And he became undisputed in his second weight class. And this year, we had the pleasure of watching not one, but 2 guys become two division undisputed champions in the 4-belt era. So we've been treated to some undisputed stuff this year. You know what I mean? And of course, there's Terrence Bud Crawford winning a big, much anticipated fight with Errol Spence. One of the biggest welterweight fights of the last 20 years for sure and ever. This was a hell of a performance by Crawford. Dominated Spence, and in many minds, that performance alone was enough to solidify him as the Fight of the year. There is precedent to name somebody fight of the year with one fight. Other fighters have won it. It's not the norm, but it has happened. Okay, big win for Bud Crawford, beating another pound for pound fighter at consensus. So there you go. Big win by Crawford. Tim Tszyu fought 3 times this year. Tim Tszyu, others call him Tim Tszyu, but Tim Tszyu, the Soul Taker, destroyed Harrison, as I mentioned earlier, knocked out Ocampo in 1 round, and then came back and utterly destroyed Mendoza. Just completely outclassed him. Mendoza showed a tremendous amount of heart and some defiance. It just didn't make the cut for the nominee, but was very defiant in the fight, but nonetheless was just outgunned. Very active year for Tim. 2 really good wins for Tim. Once, whatever, but nonetheless, it's still there. And so I have him nominated as one of the fighters of the year. And lastly, who can forget about Devin the Dream Haney, who one of the best fights of the year beat Lomachenko. I thought the fight could have gone either way. So however you had it, some people had Haney, some people said Loma. It was a great fight. Loma's a great fighter. He defended his undisputed crown of 135 pounds. We don't see guys defend undisputed anymore. I think Canelo and Haney might be the only ones that have done it. So shout out to them. And Haney did that. And then he moved up and fought who many considered the like 2 or 3 guy in the division, and Regis Prograis, a big puncher. And he not only outclassed him, he knocked him down, hurt him a couple times, and got hit the least amount of times in the history of combat boxing for a 12-round fight. So that was a hell of a performance and and something to add to his repertoire for the year. Big time year for Devin Haney for sure. And he has been nominated for one of DStyleBoxing's Fighters of the Year. And here they are. Who is the fighter of the year? If you guys have any honorable mentions? Shout out to Remy. Oh, hell no, DStyle Benavidez. That's right. I had to nominate. I thought he had a great year. Okay. To whoever thought Andrade was the boogeyman's on cracks in Chicano. Man. Okay. All right. So we're gonna do a process of elimination. Okay. Out of all these fighters, all right, I'm gonna first eliminate Tim Tszyu. Okay. Out of all these fighters, I think the other 4 were slightly more impressive for one and much more impressive for the other 3. But I'm gonna say Tim Tszyu, good year, in my opinion, the Australian fight of the year, right? But you can move aside. Still great year, but I think Tim had a great year, by the way. Second, we are going to eliminate David Benavidez because the other guys they defended undisputed, fought for undisputed, for unifications and for big fights that were anticipated for a long time. The fight with the Plant was anticipated for a long time, but a good win for him, but it kind of falls short to some of the other ones. And then, of course, Andrade was a good win, but it was Andrade. I mean, how good is he at 116? We're not sure. Perception matters, right? But nonetheless, good year for Benavidez. We're going to go ahead and eliminate him. And then there was 3. Eliminating the first 2 wasn't hard. But these 3, like I could have honestly just nominated these 3, to be honest with you. Like I wanted to do 5, but I could have just done these 3. Let me first say, before I even move on, you cannot go wrong with any of these 3. You just can't. Okay? It's debatable at this point, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It's very debatable. So I'm just saying. I'm just checking the super chat, make sure I didn't forget anybody. I didn't. There we go. Look, it's tough. You can't go wrong with either guy. You just can't. Look, I'm not even going to eliminate one. I'm just going to announce who I think the fight of the year is. I don't even want to like put 1, 2, and 3. So I'm not even going to eliminate one. I'm just going to tell you guys who I think the fighter of the year is this year. Then I'll explain why and we'll talk about it. Okay. Once again, I need to reiterate: you can't go wrong with Devin Haney. You can't go wrong with Bud Crawford. You can't go wrong with Inoue. You just can't. To me, it's one of those three. But there could only be one. I don't believe in dual winners, and I don't believe in any of that. Okay. There can only be one, ladies and gentlemen. Just one. Okay. Like what did Nas say? All I need is one mic, one mic. Let me tell you guys something. The 2023 DStyleBoxing Fighter of the Year goes to the only monster in boxing. No disrespect to Benavidez. The only real monster, that's Monster Naoya Inoue. Is my fighter of the year. And did I miss the super chat? Is that what we're saying, Remy? All right. Naoya Inoue wins the award. Look, to me, if Inoue had just fought one time, or he fought one time and like an opponent, and just okay. And if Haney would have just fought one time and maybe an opponent or just one time, it would have been Crawford hands down, right? I'm not eliminating Crawford because he just won it one time, right? It just, I just think, it's everything is, you got to look at everything in its totality. I still think Crawford's the best pound for pound boxer in the sport. Because pound for pound is a continuous thing; it doesn't stop. But fight of the year is January to December. Who had the better year? And it's a tough one, but I got to go with Inoue because his performance against Fulton. Very first fight at 122, beats Fulton, the unified champion, and the unifieds with the other unified champion for Undisputed in Tapalas, which was a solid fighter, a worthy fighter. And when you add both at the same time, those two together, it's not necessarily that it's more than the Spence win, but we have to factor it in. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to me, it means he had a better year. Like that's all that means. But Monster Inoue is the fighter of the year. And shout out to Devin Haney as well. Devin Haney, the win over Lomachenko is a standout win, legacy win. And then, of course, the win with Prograis. So you add those two together. I mean, it's great performance, great fight. The whole nine. He did it all. You know what I mean? Make sure you guys hit my like button, by the way. Let me see how many likes I got. Let's take a look right now. All right, let me get the other one right here. I think all we have left is fight of the year. That's all we got left, I believe. So let's go ahead and go over the fight of the year. First of all, name me your fights. There was a lot of great fights. Like I loved all these fights, but a lot of good fights out there. But I picked mine. We're about to go over it. Okay, we're going to talk about it. All right. For some reason, this thing's being weird. See, this works. Can you guys see that? You do? Okay, yeah, I see it. So, fight of the year. That's what happens when you don't have time to get everything ready. You got to do it all on the spot. You know what I mean? Yeah, I respect it. I mean, you can't go wrong with Crawford, that's for sure. For sure. Let's go ahead and continue here. The fight of the year. All right, let's go over the nominees right here. First fight. Look, man, I love this fight. Haney Lomachenko was a hell of a fight. I loved everything about this fight. Was it? This was high-level boxing with high-level drama, with adjustments, ring IQ, Loma getting creative with his lead hand, countering effectively, confusing Haney. Haney then even going back to his corners, telling his dad oh, he's he knows what I'm doing and he's got to make adjustments. Haney working the body effectively throughout the fight, sitting on his punches while doing so. Haney's hurt late in the fight, but gets out of that round, closes round 12. Some people have a debate. There's drama. The drama's there. The suspense before they read the scorecards. This fight was high-level, world-class boxing at its best. And because Loma is so good in there and so good against the clinch, and Haney was not able to effectively clinch, we saw the skills of Haney blossom more. Like we saw more skill out of him because of it, and because he had to make adjustments. And fights that have ebbs and flows, and okay, he's figured that out. So now I have to do this. Is why we watch sports, and why we watch sports at the highest level. And this is why I nominated it for Fight of the Year. Okay. I thought this was a brilliant fight. I remember tweeting out, this is my type of fight. And I loved every moment of it. And I thank both guys for giving me such a great fight. Ramirez versus Espinosa, which was my upset of the year. Shout out to Espinosa. Espinosa started strong and ended stronger. You know what I mean? He started strong. By the mid-rounds, he got stronger. By the end of the fight, he was the strongest. It was he just swarmed Ramirez, and Ramirez knocked him down, in fairness. It looked like he was gaining control of the fight, but eventually realized, I'm not going to be able to box this guy as effectively as I want to and counter him as effective as I want to. It was just a very fast pace, and he overloaded the computer. That ring IQ of Ramirez got overloaded. It was just too much swarming happening, and he went to fight mode and fought him back. And we had some great exchanges, some great back and forth, and some drama with, of course, he dropped him. And then, of course, in the very end, Ramirez is just holding on for dear life, goes down. And Ramirez, in his own way, got defiant and ended that fight on his feet. And then, of course, the drama where they're going to give it to him. The judges made the right decision, although I lost a lot of money in my parlay, but it's okay. It is what it is. But Espinosa pulled off an amazing upset for sure. And, of course, we got Munguia. Man. You know, I don't know, man. A lot of people always criticize Munguia, but leave Munguia the way he is, bro. I love watching Munguia fight. Do I think he should be fighting Canelo? No. Right? It'll be fun while it lasts, I'll say that, but the Ryder fight's gonna be a great fight, by the way. If you can make it at Glendale, Phoenix, wherever it is, go make it. I'll try. But he's fun to watch. Munguia is this generation's action fighter. It's the way he should be promoted. Golden Boy should promote him as the most exciting boxer in the sport. Munguia versus Derenchenko, longest name of all time. Or spelling it. I don't even know if I spelled it right. Somebody tell me if I spelled it right. I don't even know if I spelled it right. But Munguia versus Derenchenko. I feel like the Rock from the 90s with Derenchenko. Early 2000s Rock. But this was an unbelievable fight. And Munguia needed that damn, like he got the big knockdown, which ended up giving him the W. But what a fight. I mean, back and forth. Munguia was hurt several times. Derenchenko was hurt several times. It was absolute brutality, this fight. It was brutal. Okay? It was the opposite of freaking Haney versus Loma. Like, these dudes were just going at it, bro. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm trying to figure out and make an adjustment. No, like, these guys were just like, I'm going to outman you. Let's go. Right? Jesus Christ, bro. And people out there will want to fix Munguia. What the fuck are you trying to fix? For what? Oh, yeah, Munguia, I think, you know what? He needs to fix his defense. No, leave it the way he is, bro. Shit. Munguia's fighting, sign me up. I'm showing up. Like, I'm just saying, man, and he makes these dudes fight. Derenchenko's a very skilled fighter. He made him fight. And at this level, he'll make a lot of dudes fight. Just to put him in the ring, Canelo put him to sleep, but people insist that it'll be fun while it lasts. I'll tell you that. Munguia, Derenchenko. Neri versus Havanesian. A lot of people forgot about this fight very early in the year. Great fight, back and forth. I was wondering if Neri was going to have flashbacks of the Figueroa fight. If you remember, another great fight, but it was didn't last so long. He just outgunned Neri and overwhelmed him and stopped him. Vicious body shots, and Neri just didn't look that good. But Neri has rejuvenated his career, at least from what I've seen. He's no longer partying like a crazed maniac and like he's like an 18-year-old at the club or something. He's acting more like a prize fighter than a party guy. And he's gotten, you could tell in this fight, he got in better shape. Havanesian brought it. Havanesian did what I would have expected him to do. Put the pressure on Neri. And I was wondering if Neri was going to gas in the fight. It made it very dramatic. But Neri overcame it, started hurting him, and got the W. So shout out to Neri. Big one for him. And fight of the year candidate. And of course, last but not least, again, these are not in any particular order. This fight. Man, this fight. This fight also, I mean, there's so much magic about this fight. Of course, Defiance Award goes to Foster already. And he's nominated for this one as well. O'Shaquie Foster versus Rocky Hernandez was an unbelievable fight. I will say that the judges did a disservice, but at the same time, that's the reason it made it so dramatic at the same time. But they should have had it closer. Like, Rocky was winning the fight, but I just felt like they were kind of screwing him over on the scorecards. But that aside, if there was open scoring, we're still going to have the same dramatic effect, because if it was my scorecard, Rocky would still be ahead. The telling Rocky in the corner, you know, just box him, fight smart. Said, nah, hell nah. This guy hurt me in front of my people. I mean, just all pride. I'm not even critical about it. This was a great fight, bro. I loved every minute of it. And I love both these guys for what they gave us. People are like, oh, Rocky should have held. Like, well, why are you guys wishing for the things that wouldn't have made this fight as great? Plus, I don't think he could have held anyway. I think he was exhausted. But this was a hell of a Rocky Hernandez had a hell of a performance. Foster was fighting him right back. Got the greatest teeth. And we already know Foster's a skilled fighter. He could box. But in this fight, like, we learned that he has like another gear, another level of toughness and determination to go out there in that 12th round and do what he did and get this dramatic stoppage was a thing a beauty. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. And that's why I nominated the whole thing. The round of the year, round 12, by the way, but also nominated for fight of the year. This was an absolutely beautifully violent fight. As my great friend 916 Chris, rest in peace, would say, a science of violence. What is the 2023 DStyleBoxing Award for Fight of the Year? Which one am I going to pick? I'm not going to, like, look, I'm going to do a process of elimination. First, we're going to eliminate, this is tough. All these are great fights. I'm going to put that out there. Neri Havanesian, we're going to go ahead and remove that one. I think live, that one was more suspenseful than it is if you go back and watch it out of all of them. Then it gets really tough. Then we're going to eliminate, believe it or not, oh man, Ramirez Espinosa. And I know some think that's a fight of the year, and I wouldn't even argue with you, but I'm going to remove that one. I got to go by what I felt right here when I watched him live, okay? So Ramirez Espinosa has been eliminated. And then there was 3. We're going to eliminate, as much as I don't want to, and as much as I was convinced this was the fight of the year when I watched it, but I watched them all again, and I'm going to eliminate Munguia versus Derevyanchenko. All right? Great fight. Rock'em Sock'em's galore. I love that fight. I'll watch it a million times. But I'm going to go ahead and eliminate that one. And believe me, Munguia's going to be nominated for many years to come, ladies and gentlemen. The guy's always in many fights. Well, I don't know about many. I don't know how long he'll be around taking damage like that. But, and then there was 2. Is it Foster Hernandez or Haney versus Lomachenko? Both great fights for 2 different reasons. Right? Like, it's almost, I don't even want to pick one because, like, they're both great, but in their own way, right? Like it's not, I don't even want to pick, but there could only be one. There could only be one, ladies and gentlemen. There's no need to announce a runner-up. So the 2023 DStyleBoxing Fight of the Year, the award goes to envelope. Oh, this is tough. I'm going to go with Shockey Foster, Rocky Hernandez, the drama. And I'll tell you what the difference is. They're both up there, right? But the difference maker is the round of the year, round 12. Round 12 of Haney Loma. Like, Loma took his foot off the gas a little bit. You know what I mean? But it was the opposite in this fight. In this fight, Rocky Hernandez stepped on that motherfucker. Like, he put his foot on the fucking gas like a motherfucker. Okay? Like you know what I mean? Like, and that's the difference right there. That dramatic moment. Now, Haney Loma fought at a much higher skill level. There's no debating that. If we stop at around 11, if it was only 11 rounds each, it's Loma Haney all day. But it's close. Then that round 12 hits. And Shockey Foster getting that dramatic stoppage. That dramatic moment, one of the moments of the year. the Defiant moment of the year. He was defiant. He won the Defiant Award, round of the year, and it made it the fight of the year. Plus, it helped cure us of the stench that Tyson Fury left when he took a big shit in the middle of the ring against Francis Ngannou, embarrassed the sport of boxing. Later on that evening on the Zone, Shocky Foster, Rocky Hernandez reminded us why we love boxing, why boxing is king. That was an unbelievable fight. And that is why it is my fight of the year. All right? But make no mistake about it, I don't see a lot of people picking Loma Haney as fight of the year, which surprises me. But I could see a lot. Look, I thought that was going to be my fight of the year. That was one of my favorite fights in the year. I love that fight. Right? But I got to give it to Foster versus Hernandez. Subjective, but that's the difference maker to me. Okay? I believe I went through all the awards, ladies and gentlemen. Just to do really quickly. Female fight of the year goes to Katie Taylor. Okay, I thought that was a good fight. She had a good year. That is. I thought that was phenomenal. Okay, the way she came, she did that. Comeback fight of the year. I'm gonna give it to Lee Wood. He got knocked out early this year, and he comes back to avenge his loss, and then he comes back again in the middle of the fight. Defiance against Warrington. I'm gonna give it to him. Comeback fight of the year for the females. It all happened in the span of the same year. But Katie Taylor losing to Cameron and coming back and beating Cameron in the rematch makes her the comeback fighter of the year for sure. Okay. I thought that was great. Guzman, Julissa Guzman, KO and Ramla Ali is the female knockout of the year. Just want to put that out there. I thought that was a brutal knockout. Upset of the year for the women. I was very shocked by this, but it is what it is. I got to give it to Diva. What's her name? Oh my God, I forgot her name. She beat Green. What's going on? Oh my God, I've had a long day in fairness, guys. But Cruz. I'm sorry, Franchon Cruz. I had a brain fart. Franchon Cruz getting that W Green shocked me very. I thought Green was going to beat her up. I really thought that. So it's I got to go by that. Now, granted, I'm just going to put this out there. Oh, but DStyle, what about the look? I didn't watch all the women fights. Okay, I'm just so it is what it is. Fight of the year for the women. I guess I gotta go with Katie Taylor Cameron. I thought that was a really good fight. A lot of people didn't like it. I like the holding, but I'm gonna go with that fight. Although I'm sure there was some other great ones as well. A lot of domestic women's fights are really good. But I'll have to go with that. And performance of the year for the women. By the way, Alicia Baumgartner, you could have won the award. But performance of the year for the women. Man, it's tough. I guess I got to give it to Franchon Cruz against Green. Just outboxed her, outclassed her the whole fight. I was surprised. You know what I mean? Like, I got to give it her. It is what it is. Can't hate. I don't hate on this channel. You know, it is what it is. All right? There ain't no hate here. So great stuff. You could also nominate her her fight of the year, Serrano, because she did some 12-round fights and all that. Actually, let me take back fight of the. I'm sorry. I'm doing my best impression of Steve Harvey. Can I have the award? Thank you. I apologize. I'm sorry to Katie Taylor and Cameron. I apologize. I'm doing such a messy award portion for the women. What's going on over here? What a messy portion of the award show. I mean, my God, bro. You know what I mean? But the fight of the year for the women was that bloodfest of Cruz versus Serrano. I can't believe I forgot about that fight. That fight, that was a crazy fight, bro. Did you see the blood in that ring? Like Cruz is bleeding, and this is the aunt of Pitbull Cruz, by the way, those that don't know, right? So, like, Amanda Serrano's going toe-to-toe with the female version of freaking Pitbull Cruz, okay? And they're just trading, they're just hooking. You know what I mean? They're like, bro, that was a brutal fight. Like, brutal. And that was one of those brutal fights. And then she's cut, and she's fighting back. And you know what? Since we're at it, we're going to give Miss Cruz. We're going to give Miss Cruz the Defiance Award for the women, too. We're going to give her that award, too. And I apologize, Katie Taylor and Cameron, for taking away the award for Fight of the Year. I apologize. It's just that it's in my mind. I just got to take the award back. Thank you. And it's funny because I said at the beginning of the show, hey, once I call, that's it. But I'm breaking my own rule. I'm sorry. Right? That was a brutal fight. I'm sorry, bro. Like, I had to take it away. Like, it came to I'm surprised nobody even said in the chat. Like, I couldn't believe what I was saying. You know what I mean? Man, what a and look, very rarely does somebody in a losing effort raise their stock, and she did just that. She fought, like, she took Amanda Serrano to the limit. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a fight I wish was 3 minutes. Imagine that fight, 3-minute rounds. That was a hell of a fight. I did have Serrano winning, by the way. I thought Serrano won that fight. I think I scored like 7 rounds to 3 for Serrano. I don't remember how I scored, but you got to give it to her, okay? One more thing before I go. I gave Trainer of the Year to Bomac, and I just don't know enough about women's boxing like that to give an award to a female fighter. It's got to be honest. The trainer of Katie Taylor, I'll give it to him. Who is that? Does anybody know his name? Or Amanda Serrano's trainer, the brother-in-law. I'll give it to him. I'll give it to him. Okay. All right. I took away another award for Katie Taylor, bro. What am I doing? Sorry, Katie. You got Fight of the Year, though. Okay. I'm not gonna take that one away. Don't worry about it. My bad. Right. So yes, we're gonna. I said it very early in the show. I said Bomac is trainer of the year. The Crawford win, and then the Eubank, have Eubank avenge his loss in England. Big stuff. So Bomac. By the way, Bill Haney, put him up there. I'm saying, you know what I mean? The problem with Bill, it's only Haney. Like you need. I like to see trainers with stables. Like, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? So, want to say that. So okay, we'll give it a hit, and then so those are the awards. One more thing, guys, before I wrap this one up. First of all, thank you for joining me on this Friday. I don't do shows on Fridays usually, but thank you for joining me. Let me just say this. I don't know how this is going to sound. I don't know how it's going to come off, but I got to say what I got to say. You know, it is what it is. So look, shout out to all the women fighters out there, okay? Women's boxing deserves all the respect in the world. I sponsor some women fighters, you know what I mean? I help out some amateurs with the travel and stuff. Like I support women's boxing. So let me just start out by saying that. It's just a pet peeve of mine. It's just a pet peeve. It's no big deal. You know what I mean? So and there's a Roddenegger award. It goes to Jermel Charlo for bragging about beating up his wife. I'll give it. That'll be my Roddenegger award. But here's the thing. Laid an egg would be Wilder probably. But look, I appreciate women's boxing. I do. Right? I appreciate and shout out to the whole Bomac, Esau, Ray. Shout out to them. And look, Michaela Mayer versus what's her name? Man, I'm terrible with names today, bro. I don't know. I am tired, in fairness, but Michaela Mayer against Jesus Christ, Jonas. What the fuck's going on? So that's a good fight next year. Okay, early next year. So be on the lookout for that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. A lot of fights next year, right? We'll see what Katie Taylor's going to do. A lot of fighters, right? Metcalf, a shout out to Coach Christine. They did beat Yoshida, who did, quite frankly, take Bridges to school. Okay. I'm seeing big things for them. So shout out to all the female fighters out there. Look, guys. Of course, Tara Brown. I hope she gets her big title shot next year. I think she's deserving. And I think she utterly destroys. I think she destroys Sky Nicholson, right? Which is a reason. That's why Sky won't even tag her, mention her. It is what it is. Okay. I also know the other fighters are going to come back. Good friend of mine, so it's going to come back. So a lot of big things coming in the boxing world. Okay. I just want to tell everybody a pet peeve of mine. The pet peeve of the year. And by the way, next week we will announce on this channel, the big award is the Hispanic Cause and Panic of the Year, male and female, that will be announced. You guys can let me know who you think that is. There's a post in my community page. You can post. I'll repost it. We'll see. Look, here's the thing. When I talk boxing, okay, if I say Crawford and Inoue are, if I say Crawford's the first to become two-time undisputed in two different weight classes, okay, it's just understood, I would think, it goes without saying, I'm talking about the man. Okay, Christine? Calling out Christine. But shout out to the big sis, by the way. Christine's great. But it's understood. And it's like, here's the thing. Somebody tweeted out like a while back, yeah, Crawford is the first. Oh, what about Clarissa Shields? Oh, well, what about Clarissa Shields? She did it. Well, why did you say her name? Why did you say, like, here's the thing, guys. There's the men, and then there's the women. Okay? Like, there's the men, and then there's the women. They don't fight each other. And they shouldn't fight each other. Despite what Clarissa Shields says. Okay? Shields says she could fight Keith Thurman. Like, no, stop. Just stop. Okay? There's the men, and then there's the women. We don't do this with any other sport. If I say, man, when else is I've been watching the World Cup, and I say, man, I don't think the U.S. is ever going to win a World Cup, bro. I just don't think it's going to happen. Like, you never get an asshole that, oh, what about the women? The women won it? The women always win the World Cup. But what are you talking about? Like, I mean, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the men. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, do you know where I'm going with this? If I say, like, you don't have to keep telling people, hey, Clarissa Shields and Taylor did it. Like, okay, I know they did it. Good for them. You don't need to like. I see this all the time, bro. Like if I say, oh man, I don't know, like Michael Jordan's the only guy. I don't know if this is true or not, but let's just say it is. Michael Jordan's the only player I know that won the MVP all 6 times. He went to the NBA, to the NBA Finals. Nobody comes out and says, "Oh yeah, well, what's your name over there in the WNBA? Won it 7 times." But we're not talking about the WNBA. We're talking about the NBA. We're not. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just understood. Okay? It's just understood that we're talking about, like, the men portion of it. That's what we're talking about. If I say, I don't even watch tennis that much, so I might piss some people off by saying it. I don't know. But if I say, hey, I think Nadal's the best tennis player of all time. Well, what about, I don't know who's big in tennis for the females? Like, the Williams sisters, right? Well, I think Venus, or is Venus the better one? Who's the better one? Y'all watch tennis? I don't watch tennis. I don't even know. I know Venus. What's the name of the other one? I'm terrible. No, the younger sister's better. She has more accolades. But nobody said, "Oh yeah. Well, why didn't you mention the Williams sisters?" Like Serena, thank you. No, well, I'm not talking about women's tennis. If I say Simone Biles is the best gymnast of all time, right? She's the best at gymnastics ever. You don't have to pull out some dude. Like, oh yeah, what about Strokovich? I'm just making up a name. Like he's the best male gymnast, and you didn't mention him. Like we're not talking about the men. Stop. Just quit. It's a pet peeve of mine, bro. Like, it gets old, dude. It gets old. Like what about so? What about this and what about that? And it's like this and like that and like this and like this and no, bro. I'm not gonna mix and match. I'm not gonna do it because they don't fight each other. I am just saying. No other sport does this. There's no other sport that does this. I swear to God. I talk to people that talk other sports. They don't do this. Okay? They don't hike. You remember that the Kid Rock joke where he say, like, I forgot what the joke was, that he dates white women because the white women will play wide receiver for you, but the black women will be hike, and you go hike. I mean, that's a Kid Rock joke. I didn't make that joke. But my point is, it's like, y'all women like it's dudes too, by the way. Like they do it all the time, bro. There's an accolade put out. Oh, he's the first to do this. Oh, he's not. Clarissa Shields did it. Like we're talking about men's boxing. Like, man, we haven't won a gold medal since Andre Ward. It's understood. I'm talking about the men. Oh, Clarissa Shields did it twice. Okay. We're not talking about the women right now, bro. Good for her. Congratulations, Shields. A 2-time gold medalist. Congratulations. Shout out to HLD. Most definitely understood. Men and women may have equal rights, not meaning we are the same. Not by a long. We're not the same. Not by a long shot. Happy New Year, 2024. Shout out to you. Another thing. Yes, women's boxing needs support. All right? 100%. Women's boxing needs support. For it to grow, I believe we need to start doing 3-minute rounds. Well, we need to start doing 12 rounds for championship fights. We can't say, oh, well, you got to pay us more to do that. That's a non-starter. That's not how you get paid in boxing. By growing the profile, by doing the same as the men, you're going to grow your profile. And because of that, on the back end, the money's going to come. That's just the way it is. The money will come because of that. I'm just saying. So all I'm saying, guys, is let's have some perspective. And when we're talking boxing, if it's understood, we're talking about men's boxing, and we're talking about men's boxing. If it's understood, we're talking about women's boxing, we're talking about women's boxing. Now, somebody specifically asked, well, which is the best fight of the year, separate of gender, regardless of gender? Okay, then I guess we could have a conversation about that. But if we're not doing that, we're not doing that. Boxing is the only sport where we do this, guys. It's the only sport where we do this shit. Boxing is the only sport where we do this shit. I'm just saying. And we do it with, we even did it with the weight classes. 49-0 was a heavyweight record. Plenty of guys surpassed 49-0. They never mentioned Marciano. But then somehow they turned it into a record for all weight classes. Floyd broke the record. It was never for everybody. It was a fucking heavyweight record. But I digress. That's a different story. Right? We're not going to mix and match. Okay? Who's a better pound-for-pound fighter? Katie Taylor or Lomachenko? Like, well, what are we doing? Like, we're not going to mix and match it. Right? The women over here and the men are over here. And that's it. Okay? That's it. Like, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to do anything else. That's the way it's going to be on this channel. That's what it's going to be for many, I believe. That is the pet peeve of the year for me. Simple as that. Okay. So shout out to everyone. Shout out to Batman Boxing, Riding Yogi, Little Penny, Gorgaruga, Crystal, all of you, HLD, Iceman, Stephen, everyone that joined, and everyone who will be tuning in on the archive. I thank you. This has been the 2024 DStyleBoxing Awards. I'll see you next year for HCP, the Boxing Podcast, to announce Hispanic Causing Panic of the Year. This is DStyleBoxing. Keep it boxing. I'm out of here.
11, 10.